Hello and welcome. You're tuned into the special YouTube MF edition. This is a place where we make things easier for you to understand with experts on the show as well. And today it is going to be Mohit Gang, who's the CEO at Moneyfront. And Mohit, it's always a pleasure speaking with you and understanding things related to the mutual fund industry and a lot more as well. So thanks for being on the show today. And as I pointed out earlier, it will be about understanding a sector. And today it's definitely going to be the small cap funds and that particular category as well, because we've seen big moves, right? July did see some ebbing of flows, but after June seeing record high flows, it was expected. But how do you see August flows have panned out so far? We've seen small cap continuing to outperform the large cap index as well. Do you think that will continue?
Thank you, Sonal. Thank you very much for inviting me to the show. Look, so small cap story has been fantastic. It's nothing short of a fairy tale this year. To be very honest, last 1 year performance of the small cap index has been somewhere around 27% odd. And if you see the small cap flows for this year, they have been roughly in the range of around 15,000 odd crores, which is 2.2 times the flows which small cap category got last year. And compared to small cap, all other categories have been kind of bummers, honestly. If you see the large cap category or the flexi cap category, they've seen actually outflows happening. So small cap, mid cap, multi cap, these are the only categories, and some bit multi-asset allocation. These are the only categories in equity class which have been receiving tremendous flows, and small cap flow has been massive. Last month itself it was around 4,000 odd crores positive, if I'm not wrong, and this month again looks like a stellar show. And mind you, this is all at the back of no NFOs in this category, right? Typically, when you see high flows in a particular category, it's always on the back of a new NFO or something. So to me, small cap has been like the Gadar 2 for mutual fund industry this year. And somewhere I'm also skeptical, and it also sounds an alarm bell in my mind that too much of a flow chasing too little stocks with very little liquidity can be a matter of concern. But yes, I think the flow remains unabated for the time being.
It's interesting you speak about Gadar. I hope that continues the Jawan trend as well, which is expected next week. But jokes apart, small cap funds usually look enticing when compared to the other categories. That's what we saw this year as well in terms of flows and returns also that they've generated. But do you think this is the go-to place in case where we are seeing a lot of volatility that we are seeing right now?
Look, I've always maintained this. If you're okay with volatility and if you're okay with a very, very long time horizon, and when I say very, very long time horizon, I mean 10 years, right? So for large caps, you can be okay with a 5-year thing. They're more stable, the safety net is much wider out there. The volatility is less. But for small caps, I think a 10-year kind of a time horizon, if you have it, you will definitely outperform the broader indices. That's what history tells us. Over a 10-year, 15-year cycle, the gap between the large cap and the small cap on an average has been almost like 4 to 5% annualized returns, right? But on a 20-year cycle, if you see, almost every category converges. So almost every category converges within a range of 1 or 2 years, but within a 10 to 15-year kind of a cycle, small and mid caps definitely tend to outperform. And I think that will continue to happen in Indian markets for some time, because we are a fairly developing economy, and there are a lot of new names which are coming in the market, and a lot of new issues which are coming in. A lot of new companies will come in. These will all start their journey from being a micro cap to a small cap, so on and so forth. So my sense is small cap as a category will continue to outperform, but one should also remember that the volatility is fairly high. If I see last 13 years of data, Sonal, calendar year wise, there have been 5 years where small cap category has done the best. There have been 5 years where large cap category has done best, and there have been 3 years where mid cap category has done best. So it's not that the verdict is out in favor of any one category. I remain a little skeptical on small cap because barring 2022, so 2020, 2021, and now 2023, all 3 years we are seeing small caps outperforming the other sectors. So my sense is it's now coming to a time when we need to be a little more cautious going forward.
Okay, so we need to be a little cautious going forward. But when you spoke about the snooze period also that small cap indices or small cap funds have seen in last 13 years of data that you spoke about, what have traditionally been the returns versus say a mid cap fund and large cap funds if we span it over say 1 to 5 years?
Look, honestly, as I told you, from 2020 onwards, it's a one-way small cap. rally. 20 small caps were clearly outperformers, 21 again small cap, and this year again YTD returns. Small caps clearly outperformed the large caps and everything. Last year was a bad year per se, the calendar year put together. So last year almost every category was flattish. Large caps were 4%, small cap was -2% or something like that. So it wasn't a huge difference. But we have seen that whenever small caps outperform in a year, the outperformance is massive vis-a-vis the large cap category. So if you go back and see 2021 per se, the outperformance of small cap versus the large caps is huge. I think almost like 20% plus kind of an outperformance out there, right? But as you rightly said, in small caps, there is a huge snooze period, and I'm just picking this up from a value research report which I read, right, and that's the source basically. So in small caps, if you pick up the names of all the good funds out there, you will find that they have given zero returns for almost long periods of 3 to 2 years. So you will find phases and periods when small caps will just go numb and silent. And investors, that's why, have to be extremely cognizant that they can't overdo their allocations in small caps. They have to maintain their asset allocation. You can't go out of it. It is an important category, but you can't overdo just because one category is doing great. You can't reduce your allocations in large cap and then load yourself up with small caps. When the snooze period starts, and pretty soon it can, right, you will have a long lull period, phase period, maybe 2 years, 3 years, and they will give nothing. They will give zilch returns, and that's when the real patience of a true investor will get tested. And that's why I said that the holding period has to be at least 10 years for a small cap category.
Okay, yes, long-term investing works when you're investing in small cap. Is there the only way to have exposure to small cap stocks via small cap funds? Is there any other way investors can take exposure?
Look, Sonal, honestly, I've always been an advocate of true to label investing. If you're really wanting to be in small caps, then might as well pick a proper blue-blooded small cap fund and go and put your allocations out there. But there are other ways and means. If you really want to play it safe, you can always take a multi-cap or a flexi-cap fund. I would rather go for a multi-cap fund. Multi-cap fund by definition will have a minimum 25% allocation in small cap, in mid cap, and in large cap. And the remaining 25% as per fund manager's discretion can go into any market capitalization. So that's a great way of getting a small cap allocation. Flexi cap though can hold small cap to some extent, but history tells us that most of the flexi cap fund managers are loaded towards large cap and very little mid cap and barely any allocation in small cap. So that's not the right way to go. But yes, I think if one wants to play a little cautious on the small cap segment but still wants a toe in there, then I think multi-cap category serves him well.
Okay, so last question before we let you go, Mohit. We need this answer from a viewer's perspective as well. Some small cap funds which you think they can look at from an investment perspective right now.
Sonal, looks at the category, again with a disclaimer, I think the category has run up a lot and one has to be really patient to get good returns out there, and few of the large funds have already closed lump sum allocations. So funds like Nippon, SBI, Tata Small Cap, they've all stopped lump sum allocations and they're only allowing SIP and STP kind of contributions. But my few picks in this segment will be on the active side. I will go with a Tata Small Cap Fund and a Pru ICICI Small Cap Fund. I choose these two not only by virtue of their performance, but also because the funds have manageable corpus and the AUM is within reasonable limits right now, and it's not like ballooned out of proportions. And I continue to believe that small cap funds cannot manage a very high AUM. So it's better to stick to funds which have a reasonable AUM size. So Tata and Pru are two my good picks. And I also believe in passive investing. I would want investors to start dipping in, though active in small cap will always give great returns as compared to passive, but getting a little exposure in the small cap index fund, small cap 250s index fund is never a bad choice.
All right, okay, that's very incisive and precise. Thank you, Mohit. Always a pleasure speaking with you and to get your insights. We'll speak to you soon again, but for now, we'll take your leave on this edition of Mutual Fund YouTube Corner. Okay, all right, with that, we'll take your leave and get you more episodes on the other side, but stay tuned to CNBC-TV18 for more news and updates.